I was getting my fishing license last week and the lady was like, "You want a trout stamp?" And I was like, yeah, because that gave me some ideas. I'm not going to tie flies, but I want to catch trout on more trout type lures, you know? You know what the title of this video is. I'm making a mosquito, and this seems fun. Not your traditional style of lures. Like this probably won't have a treble hook on it. Just a single hook coming off the back like a tied fly has. But it's a lure. It's gonna be wood, might have a joint. It's gonna have wings, legs. It's gonna look like that. It's gonna look like the thumbnail. I say we just jump right into the fun facts. Let's do this, guys. Mosquitoes are responsible for the death of over 700,000 people every year. They kill more humans than any other animal on Earth. They're pretty much the most pesky thing in existence. Yeah, they carry malaria. They're essentially hell on Earth in Africa. It's bad. If you could classify an animal in terms of how much humans should hate them, mosquitoes would be far in the lead. So, some fun facts that don't relate to tragedy and humans dying. What people call mosquitoes are a group of over 3,500 species. They got little needles on their face and can transmit blood-borne pathogens. This is an insect that's over 90 million years old, so it knows how to do its thing. Typical insect life cycle, egg, larva, all that stuff. So they have to lay their eggs on the surface of the water. They hatch, they feed on aquatic algae, muck on the surface of the water, organic material, you know. And it's the females of most of the mosquito species that have the needle on their face and suck your blood. Yeah, it's not a mosquito bite, it's a piercing. It's just a tube that shoots through your skin, finds its way to the blood. And it's the females that do that because they require the protein and the iron in your blood, or in a mammal's blood, to produce their eggs. They also suck the blood of birds and reptiles and amphibians and some fish. That's pretty interesting. If you could think of a mosquito having saliva, it's the saliva that is transmitted in through your skin, under your skin. That's what causes the bump, the itch, the rash. Whoa. That's a picture of a mosquito biting a snake's face. That's pretty cool. So they got that stuff, that saliva. In that saliva, there's quite a bit of stuff. There's stuff that stops the bleeding. So any blood vessels that they damage when they poke you, that saliva brings those blood vessels immediately to the first stage of wound healing, coagulation, and you know what I mean. Makes it so it doesn't bleed as much. But the saliva also, through that process, creates inflammation. So you get a bump right there where they bit you. Their saliva is also an antibacterial, or it's more of an antimicrobial. It kills microorganisms, but that will also stop the growth of any bacteria. I guess that's what an antibiotic is. It just kind of kills microbials and fungals and stuff like that. So it does a lot, but there's only like 20 dominant ingredients in it, or proteins, that are combined together that make the compound that do the things that mosquitoes need their spit to do. Mosquitoes are everywhere in the world, except the regions that are too inhospitable for most things to live, you know. There are some regions like Iceland, it says here, that it's like a quirk. There's no mosquitoes there. That's pretty good thing to know if you want to go to Iceland. No mosquitoes. It's just a bit of a geological oddity where other insects do live in Iceland, but mosquitoes aren't there. I'm not sure if they can live there. Like if someone introduced a mosquito to Iceland, it would infest their mosquitoless land. That'd be horrible. It says ancient Greek mythology came up with the idea of the little thing being able to take down the big thing, and it involved like an elephant or a bull and the mosquito, with the moral that the large thing doesn't even notice the large beast doesn't notice the small one, the small insect. But even the little mosquito ends up triumphant. Some Greek mythology morals right there. Probably, whether you're an animal lover or not, like the death of mostly impoverished 700,000 humans every year. That's brutal. So yeah, absolutely horrible bug. Nobody likes them. I don't know if they were to disappear, if that would do something tragic to the ecosystem. And yeah, screw mosquitoes. Fun facts are over. That is the blocked out shape of a mosquito body. Time to add all of the chamfers to the edges, smooth everything off. We should be able to get this thing looking just like a mosquito pretty quickly. Suppose I just kind of went quiet there and finished the carving. Tried to get as much head detail as I could in there. Got the ribs on the back. I'm going to leave the middle here just a big round section because I'm going to have a lot of stuff to glue into that part, like the wings and all of the legs. There's going to be some furry stuff that comes off of the head, and the pokey needle. I'm going to have one of those too. I need to get this jig hook in the body of this mosquito. The eyelet needs to stick out of the body right there, just like that. And then the hook has to stick out right there. I'm going to drill up from the bottom where that hole is. That's where the eyelet will go. And then on the back of the body here, I'm going to cut a slot where the hook point comes up through. Well, I guess where the shank rests inside of the body, and the hook point will come up through it right there. This is so tiny. I just went dyslexic for a second, and I thought I just cut that slot on the wrong side of the body. Kind of freaked out a little bit, but we're good. I didn't do that. And I don't know if that's actually what dyslexic means, so sorry if it's something different and you happen to have that horrible ailment. And I just sort of was ignorant of your peril. Anywho, I think this is gonna work. I have to cut this all the way down though. There's no finagling that hook in there at a certain angle. It just has to come straight up. So I gotta cut this slot down to where that hook point's gonna be. That's pretty cool. That worked out good. I have to cut this slot a little deeper, but hot diddly, not bad. So this is getting pretty fragile. I just cut a slot in the middle of this tiny piece of balsa wood. So I think in order to make the hole where the lead will be, I'm going to use a Dremel, a high-speed Dremel bit. So that's going to end up probably accepting just like a single drop of lead. That's a tiny, tiny little hole. This is really testing my abilities as a camera dude. This tiny stuff. I'm always going out of frame with what I'm working on. Okay, the hook sits in there perfectly. I got to push it against that side in order for it to sit straight. But it sits straight. I'm just going to glue that in right now, I think. I put some excess super glue in the hole this way, and then I flipped it over and I got the baking soda out real quick. And the super glue as a liquid was kind of membraned over that hole. And then I dropped some baking soda on that and it sealed it. That way when I put lead in this hole, it doesn't just fall out where the line tie is. So on a real mosquito, the tail, it's not a tail, but it's like the butt, has a little split right there, like a little fork. And because I cut this slot, there's a little fork in the butt on this lure too. But I still need to cover the slot that goes all the way up to the hook point. So I'm going to do that with super glue and baking soda too. I do need to be careful about using too much super glue and baking soda. It has a much higher density than the balsa wood. And if I go crazy with it, it'll just end up making this bait sink too much. I just added quite a bit there. Hopefully that's fine. You know, the older you get, the less stupid things you do. I probably would have tried to hold this with my fingers about a year ago. Trying to make sure this lead's hot enough. Oh, that was some of it went in there. That will do. A lot of people ask me if I have any tips for people starting lure making. All I tell them is super glue and baking soda. That's it. That's all you need to know. Maybe an accelerator too. That's it. There is some more cleaning up to do, but that is pretty much the body of this Mosquito. By cleaning up, I just mean sanding, smoothing everything off. When I'm done with that, we're going to give this thing 2 or 3 coats of polyurethane. Ooh. Whoops. Tweezers right here. Kind of over-exaggerated with that. Not that big of a deal. Alright. Wait for... Oops. Okay. Wait for that to dry. I'm going to sand it with some tiny pieces of sandpaper. Do that probably a couple more times. The Mosquito is ready for paint. I need to find some pictures. There's a lot of different ways to paint a mosquito. There are black and white mosquitoes, just like that. I've never seen a mosquito like that around here. The ones I'm familiar with look like that. There's more brown in them and tans. They still have a bit of a pattern on their butt, but there's not much to them. So I am kind of undecided. I think I'm going to combine some of the best aspects of both of those different styles of mosquito. There's this too, it's like a tan. It's tan, but it's also black and white. I'll probably go for that. Maybe darker, but it kind of looks like this. That's what I'm thinking. Yeah, this will just be one of those lures I just try to kind of make look good. And not go off of anything too specific, because I couldn't find anything that I liked. Alright, first things first. Gotta paint it white. I got a pretty good idea of what I'm doing now. Over that white, I'm going to cover the whole thing in flesh tone. Then I'm going to go back over that with some super dark browns. And then I'm going to go back over that with some black and white highlights. So flesh tone, brown, highlights, and lowlights. Maybe some silver or something pearlized between there to make the bait pop a little bit. Oh, and that's what a mosquito looks like when it's engorged. So I might do a little bit of red along the side. Let me find a picture where it's not totally like that. Yeah, the side of their butt opens up and that shows through. It's like translucent and you can see the blood in there. But sometimes there's just like a thin line of that. And other times it's really fat like the picture I just showed you, but I'm trying to find one where it's thin. It's thinner in this picture, but it gets even thinner than that. I'm gonna go for a line that's even thinner than that. This dude's butt's not fat yet, so if you know what I'm talking about. Alright. So I think I just mixed up the most unappealing color in the world, and I'm going to use it with a hand brush on this mosquito. It looks like the high points, like right there on this bug, are what's darker, and the low points are lighter. So I'm going to try to stick to that. Sometimes if you just move your brush around a lot and pretend you're an artist, it works out. I think before I go any further on the sides back here, I need to put that red line in there so I know where to paint to. This is a very opaque crimson. That's not going to be as bright when I go back over that with something pearlized. Probably a silver, I don't know, maybe a gold. But that'll be a good indication of what I was going for there. A bloodline. I think I'm going to go over the belly with something too, again, and make all of those lines that I drew on it not as bold. I'll leave all the boldness for the top. I haven't even started the top yet. But yeah, I'm going to get these blood lines perfect, then I'll move on to that. Up here, mosquitoes are kind of fuzzy, so I'm going to water down this dark paint and kind of blotch it around to imitate some fuzziness. Next thing on this mosquito is to paint the eyeballs. Keep it simple, and I'm just going to put black over them. That's a super opaque black too. I might do 2 layers. So I went ahead and I added some really detail white, I added some gray, I added some detail sepia, and then I added some silver over all of that. And I came up with this, where it is now. Try to give you guys a better look. You can see there's a bit of a shimmer in the body. Most of it's just kind of a flesh tone. You can see the browns on the top. Then it turns into a kind of a grayish silver on the bottom. Last thing I have to do is add just a little bit of iridescent electric blue on the head, so the eyes kind of have that iridescent blue look. There's the finished paint on the mosquito. Not an easy thing to show on camera, but it's got iridescent blue eyes, brown body, it's got a bloodline. Paint job ended up being kind of complicated actually. Getting detail that shows up well on these tiny lures is hard, but that's good enough for me right there. Now I get to try out my new UV Cure resin again. This stuff. I'm going to try to dip it really slow and then pull it out really slow too, to try to not have excess on it. I'm going to let this drip dry. It's not going to dry, I'm just going to let this drip for quite a while, much longer than the shark. So it's time to put it in the chamber. Leave it in there for half an hour. I think in about 15 minutes I'll bend that wire 45 degrees, because right now the front and the back of it are both facing an LED light. So if I turn it just 45 degrees, both of the sides will be facing an LED light. So I'll do half the time that way and half the time the other way. Oh, I could show you what I'm doing right here. So I've got some plastic film, and this stuff came off of presentation sheet protectors. The things that you put papers in to protect them. It's that thickness, that kind of plastic film. I've also got some feathers. These are just white synthetic, like imitation feathers. They're not real feathers. I'm trying to pick out some good feathers that have clean furs. I don't know, what do you call those things on a feather? Hairs, probably hairs. And then I'm gluing that to the plastic film. I already did one right here. Just super gluing it to that film. I'm going to line up this center vein on the feather to where I'm going to be able to glue the thick part of it into the body, and the rest of it goes straight down the middle of the wing. I'm going to cut that out just like that, and those are going to be the wings on the skeeter here. This kind of makes the furs on the feather translucent too, to where you can see right through all of this, just like a mosquito wing. It's not going to have the same pattern because the mosquito wing's all veiny and it goes different directions and they connect back, but I think this will look cool enough. So that is the mosquito wings with a plastic backing cut out of a feather. Those should look pretty cool. There is the clear-coated mosquito body. I think I'm just gonna get all the stuff on it, like drill all the holes, glue all the stuff on, and then I'll explain myself when I'm done. On the ends of each one of these little legs, I'm gluing on some flashy, stringy stuff. I made the more rigid part of the legs short. That way it doesn't get in the way of hook sets as much. The stringy stuff is like nothing's there. It's really flimsy. So that won't impede hook sets, which is good. Yeah, I'm just tacking them on like that. And then I'm adding way more glue to reinforce it, and then I set it really quick with a spritz. It ends up looking like a nice little joint, like a knee on these legs. Looks pretty good. And there we have the finished Mosquito. So I attached the legs by pretty much encasing them in plastic. Doing that, add some super glue and spray it with the accelerator. That way they're not just adhered on one side to the bottom, but there's plastic enveloping them and then stuck to the body. I don't think they're going anywhere. I mean, they might fall off, but I feel pretty good about it. I don't think they will. If they do, I'll make some more real quick. I really like how the wings turned out. You can see they're like semi-translucent. You can see through them a little bit, but the pattern of a feather is also visible in them. Got the stinger. That was just a tiny little thread off of those feathers, those long skinny feathers right there. That's what I used as a stinger, so it's flexible and it won't break. So yeah, I think there's plenty of hook point, plenty of ability for a fish to get around and get hooked on this bait if they bite it. I don't think the legs are going to be in the way that much. The more stiffer wire part of the legs. Oh, and for that wire, this is what I used. It's just a jewelry nylon coated wire. It's flexible too. There we go, a mosquito lure. Let's catch a fish. I just got a brand new ultralight fishing setup so I can go to a trout stream. I wanted a shorter pole for that. This is just a 5-foot pole and I can maneuver around, and you know, I was just looking for an excuse to buy a rod really, and I like that rod, so that's what I bought. I'm going to tie it on. We're going to go to the trout stream and attempt to catch a trout. I've only caught one trout in my life, and it was unexpected. I wasn't trying to catch a trout. So this will be if I catch a trout today, this will be the first time I've actually went out and tried to catch one and caught one. So let's go do that. It's very windy today. Hopefully the audio's not just a bunch of crackly noises. It's never stopped me before. I'm at the trout stream, going to attempt to find a spot where a fish might be and catch that fish. It's the next day. Pretty much the worst case scenario happened. I fished that trout stream for a few hours. Absolutely no signs of life. So I decided that day I'm gonna go try to fish a different stream. Not a trout stream, just a normal creek. Snow melt has been pretty severe around here lately. We've had some flooding. So there was a bunch of garbage in the creek. Well, not garbage. Debris, like trees, you know, as it goes. And a really big one happened to float by. I wasn't paying attention, and my lure caught that.
Where are you going? Where are you going? Jeez. Okay.
My line snapped. The mosquito lure is still on that piece of wood, probably floating down the Cedar River by now. If any of you guys find it, let me know. You can keep it, but it'd be interesting to, if somebody did find it, that'd be cool. Yeah, this video is ending in the worst way a lure making video could possibly end. And the worst part is, I didn't even get any of this on video. My GoPro was not recording. That's probably the part where it makes it like it couldn't get any worse. Because I can't even show you guys what happened. I'm just back in my shop telling you guys what happened. If I didn't have to edit this video all day today, I would probably be doing bonus fishing, but I'm not. I'm editing. Sorry guys. It happens. You make lures, you're gonna lose some lures in stupid ways. It's the way she goes. Can't whine about it, you know? On to the next bait. Chip just couldn't care less. Could ya? No. Do you care, Chip? You care about me? You care about lures at all? You watch my videos? Are you subscribed? Chip, are you subscribed? No? You get back here. Chip, chip, chip. You shake. Shake. Chip, don't be defiant and shake my hand. Are you being defiant? Shake. Oh. Oh, good boy. I know what you guys want. One more fun fact, right? I'm totally baiting you guys right there. This is essentially just an advertisement for me. This is a horrendous way to set up a shameless plug. Alright. I'm doing a bit of an early access thing on my Patreon page where a little bit of a video is shown before the whole video is released. It's just $1. You go to the right side of the Patreon page to the rewards column. You click that you want to pledge $1 every month, and you can see video of my videos plus a little bit of extra commentary or whatever at the beginning and end. That's Patreon exclusive before the YouTube video is published. And if you keep an eye out on the Patreon page, there's going to be more than just extra content available soon. You guys catch that? You guys get it? There's going to be lures available. Marling baits.